Well, hello, everyone. I'm Jill Bloom, Group Publisher of Roofing Contractor, and thank you for joining me for the Best of Success podcast show. And I am so excited and honored to have with me Jessica Reyna, the owner and marketing director of Kill Your Competition. Jessica, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So, Jessica, before we get started, how long have you been in the marketing world? You've got some really great expertise, but I'd like everyone just to hear just a hot second about your history in the industry.
Well, I left banking in 2005 because I heard the economy was going to crash. But I'm not an economist, and so I was like, oh well, if I can't, sell $1 million, curving machines to a contractor, really easily, maybe I should find a different career. And so I had a friend who called me up in early 2006 and was like, hey, you tired of getting robbed at banks? And I was like, yeah, I kind of am. Been robbed a few times. So she's like, you should come check out this TV station. And as I've mentioned to you before, my parents didn't let us watch TV because it was going to make us dumb. And so I walk in, they're like, this is back in the heyday of 2006, and it's the second season of 24 and American Idol. And they're like, well, 24. And I'm like, no. American Idol. And I'm like, no. And they're like, well, what do you know? I was like, I know numbers and I can make them happen. And they said, you're hired.
Awesome.
So probably because that was cheap and easy compared to the other people that are applying that knew about 24 and American Idol. So, but it was a great opportunity. Within 2 years, not only did I learn national and regional ratings and research, I actually even trucked news cameras around. So I actually knew how to run news cameras before they became automated. Did production, basically touched every facility, even SEO back then, and Google Ads, which makes me feel really old when you think about 2006 to now. That's 17 years. But here I am.
Here you are. Well, we've known each other for many years now, Jessica, and there is no doubt I've watched what you've done over the years, and it really is fascinating. So I'm excited to have this conversation with you today so you can share some of your expertise with all the contractors listening. And like we were talking about before we got on, we were talking a little bit about marketing intentions and reality. Well, what do you mean by that? What does everybody need to know?
So the intention is always, I would say 9 times out of 10, everyone has good intentions, right? The intention is I want to improve my website. I want to improve my customer's experience. I want to improve my ROI. And a lot of times contractors and even marketers who a little known secret is the fact that most of them will actually outsource to a company like ours. So you start with company A who's helping you, and then they send it out either to someone here in the US or overseas or wherever they send it. Someone else is actually doing the work behind the scenes. So everyone has good intentions for the most part. But the problem is we don't always know, especially as a contractor, or even as a local business, and even sometimes marketers, I've seen this where they don't understand what is a good source. How do I validate what's true and what's not? Because there's millions of different ways where you can get reporting and information, and everyone has an opinion. The opinions outnumber the stars in the sky, and even more than that is the ways you can market your business, right? Yep. And right after that is how many ways you can validate it. Okay. That's really what it's like. And so it can be really frustrating because you might see on this report, hey, for example, the most common one I see is these ranking reports, and they use implied data. And so it might be the best branded one that offers this information. And so they're like, yeah, look how great you are. You're number one of this and this and this and this in each city. And you're like, I'm missing leads here, 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 and here. And so the two don't always connect, because if it's third party, it's not reliable. Okay, it has to be first party. And as a contractor, small business, and a marketer, there's not always an easy way to find, because there's not enough people that will say this is how you get the right data or point you in the right direction. It's become such a really important passion of mine over the years that I dedicate more time to doing that than anything else. Is here are resources, here are tools, here's where you go to get that first party information, here's how to use that information, because it's going to build everybody up, and it's important. Okay, because what happens is we get on these calls and they're like, listen, no offense, but that is literally how I would say 99% of every lead that comes in every week to our business starts when we get on the call with them. No offense, but I've seen that report. I've tried that one thing. How do I know I can trust you? How do I know this is going to work? And we always start with validate the truth. use first party data, and that nobody is out to get you. Like there's this big fear that, Google's hiding everything, and Facebook's hiding everything, and all these different people are out to get you, you know what I mean? And the marketer's out to get you. And it's really not, because it's all public. And it's really, really refreshing for me as a person, just as a human, to be like, here, this is where you can go. It is, a lot of these tools are free. They are public to anyone, and very, very easy to use, written very plainly. Anyone can make something complicated. Anyone can say, well, I can explain it, but it's going to look like all the ingredients listed on the back of the ketchup bottle saying it's ketchup. Our goal is to say plain, simple language. And there are things. In fact, Google has a wonderful tool, free to everyone, and it's called Search Central. And in the very first page, Google Search Central, it says, I'm a small business, I'm an agency, or I'm an SEO expert. Whatever you are, it has something for you, and it will break it down into a language that you can understand. And there is just so much good information. So if you asked any question like, gosh, do I need to have a single page for every city talking about re-roof to actually get more leads? And it's going to say no, by the way. That's the spoiler alert. No, you don't need to. Okay. Or that you have to use these rank reports. And the answer to all these things is no, it gives you what you need to do. Well, how do I rank better on Google My Business? Do I have to pay someone? And it will literally give you, here's the 3 things that you need to know. Here's the steps you need to take. And anyone can use these tools. If you walked in some kid who's 18 years old, right out of high school, probably got an F, they could still optimize their Google My Business. That's amazing. How simple they make it, and how every question you can ask, you can search it on there and you can get it on there. If I want to know how my heart is doing, let's say I have a heart condition, God forbid. Okay. I don't go down the street and ask my neighbor about it. Okay. And then make my medical decisions based on it. In the same way, as a business owner, you cannot make your business decisions asking your competitor what he thinks about your business, asking your neighbor what he thinks about anything that you're doing on your website. You have to go back to the source. And it's really important. And making sure that you have a place where it's not someone else's blog, it's not someone's feelings or opinions, and feelings are great and good for them. But at the end of the day, you have to run your business based on facts, because again, you can't be like, I'm number one of this, but my revenue says that. There needs to be a way to connect the dots. And it's okay to ask, like, okay, well, that's great. This is third party. How'd they get that information? Or I challenge everybody who's getting third party reporting and not seeing what they should be seeing and not sure if it's true. Say, show me the money. Can you give me that direct from Google? Can you pull that for me? Can you show me where it says in one of these things on Search Console and Search Central in the Google My Business profile help, where it says that, yes, this is true, I should be doing this, or yes, this rank exists. There's even very simple ones. If you're like afraid, but you want to stick your toe in the water and you're like, Search Central is a little too much for me. There is literally a website Google made called How Search Works.
Oh, no way. Okay.
And it'll literally talk you through the features one by one. And it'll say how our results rank. And it's going to be like relevance, behavior, all these different things. And it's going to very simply explain things. And it'll show you how these different features work. And you can get into it, the weeds as far as you want, but just remember, everything is public. Everything's available. And the most powerful thing you can do is look at your own first party data. Look at your customer base. Look at what that looks like. There's tools out there to help you use that information and say, okay, based on that, I can make these marketing decisions now, today, using first party data. Everything you hear about AI and machine learning from Google and people that are successful, large and small, and Google themselves will all say on their YouTube, you can listen to it. They have classes, first party data. Validate. I love it.
So when you go to search, what's it called? Search Central? No, what was it?
Google Search Central.
Google Search Central. So what are the top 2 things that, so you go, let's say you're a contractor, right? Or small business, right?
Right.
And then when that comes up, how do you direct your clients? Like what's the first thing they should do?
So the first thing I always direct them to is, what are you being told that you're not really sure about? You can literally put that question in there, find that information. And that's for people, whether they work with us or not. We always say start there. We do have a page on our website under our About Us resources, and it literally will say like the top questions that we see, like how do I rank higher on Google My Business? You can click on that question. It has a one sentence off of there, like here's what you need to do. And it has the link to go directly to that page. So if you're like, I don't want to search, this is like way more complex, it will take you to the correct places. I don't know, does my content on my website meet the guidelines for Google? Well, Google has a search rater content guideline, and you can click, I want detail because I'm crazy and I want to read 177 pages, or I'd like 20 pages. I can handle that with big pictures. Cool. You can click on that and it will send you always to those first party places. I cannot say that enough. And then if you do go to something, and I know marketers, we all like to be like this. We have these great long presentations and decks and whatever and things and whatever that are happening in the universe. Obviously I have no shame, so I just say whatever, but
that's great. We like that.
Citations. I'm glad you went to this event. I'm glad this person paid an ungodly amount of money to tell you these stories, or they put together this really fancy, cool, slick deck. But check the citations. So if they give you a graph and they're like, this is real, check that citation. Always, always validated. I just saw one 2 weeks ago and the citations were from 2017, 2019, 2021. I don't know if you all know, the world's kind of changed since then. So
changed a little bit, right?
Just a little. So again, it's really good. And also know that there's nuances within your own company, because if you, and let's be real, there's highly, highly competitive markets in the roofing industry, no matter where you go, small town, big town, whatever, highly competitive. Some are crazy competitive. I know Dallas is very proud of how competitive they are, so you can just ask them. But, you know, it's really important that you have that first party information, and that you also understand that your customers are different from all those other people.
For sure.
All different things at the end of the day. And I know everyone says price, right? Price is important. Okay. Mm-hmm. But what someone values that will overcome that price is different than the person that's buying from over there. The experience you're offering is unique and it's different from over there. And it's important to understand that, because otherwise we wouldn't have so many roofing companies and ones that have been successful for many, many years.
Yeah,
So
no, for sure.
Really good. Look at that first party data, validate it against resources you can trust.
And so just to recap, you mentioned something about, you wanted to make sure you mentioned the takeaway tool.
Search Central, Google Analytics, and Google Business Help. I think it's like Google My Business Help. I think it's literally that simple. But I'm sure there's somewhere after this, like we can make like a QR code and they can get to all those things, because there's a lot. But Google has a ton. Everything's public. They even have videos all over YouTube about, that's from Google, by the way, not someone who has Google's opinions, feelings, whatever.
Yeah.
But actual sources where they're constantly putting things out. They even have an updates. So if someone's like, oh my God, there's a huge update. If we don't spend $1 bajillion now, we're all going to die. We're going to sink the Titanic.
Yeah.
You can check that because everything is public facing.
It's like Y2K, right?
Yes, exactly, actually.
For sure. Well, Jessica, thank you so much for all the great insight. You're so knowledgeable, and every contractor listening, I know, just had some great takeaways. But if anybody has any questions, what's your website? How do people find you?
Killyourcompetition.today.
Sounds great. And if anybody has any questions for us, it's roofingcontractor.com, wconline.com. And while you're there, make sure you sign up for all our free content, especially our website, our webinars, our e-news, our podcasts and videos, so you can stay up to date on all the great interviews we're doing, like we are today with Jessica. But most importantly, stay safe and healthy, and we cannot wait to talk to you soon. Thanks again, Jessica.
Thanks, Jill. Bye.